sometimes when things happen and everybody is running on a trend and thinking it's about cruise, other people are the ones suffering for the aftermath of that same thing. Not everybody was interested in the boat to boat banter that happened between Nigeria and South Africa. Not everybody was involved. Not every South Africa was involved. Not every Nigerian was involved. Even though a lot of people were trying to support their country, trying to stand for their country, not everybody was negatively involved. And we saw how some South Africans came on social media to condemn what South Africans did. We saw how most Nigerians came out to tell other Nigerians that it's okay. Let's not talk about this. We have overflogged this matter. But what we will not understand is that this thing, aside having the negative impact on different people, this particular thing can also ruin other people's happiness. It was the case of this couple. They've been dating for years and for about 2 years, and they were set to marry shortly before the Boat for Boat saga started on social media. And they thought this was going to be a normal thing, only for the parent, the mother of the guy, to call him to say, ask him, where again did you say your wife is from? And they said the wife is from South Africa. And the lady said no, that will not happen, that he should look for another wife, because what she has seen and read on social media is disgusting, and she doesn't feel that the son will be safe being in a country that does not like them. So the son was like, no, this is just social media banter. It has nothing to do with the actual fact, like a real life. She said no, that she has watched on TV what happened. She has also, because there's this particular TV network that has a YouTube channel. They were also, it was on their YouTube, it was on their normal television program. So she watched it and was like, no, the level of anger and bitterness these people were saying things, she doesn't want her son to continue with the marriage. The son begged, Mama, this is not what you think. She is different. She's not like her people or anything. Like, she insisted and said no. That when people are beginning to mention places they don't like, and it was the level of anger in which they wrote about this thing, it's not something that she wants to sit down and fold her arms and just believe that nothing is happening. So the son said no problem. The son went to the father, spoke to the father, and the father said they should give the wife some time to come around. That, this thing about people talking about country hatred and all of that is not something that you should take lightly, that you should just give her some time, she'll come around. And that was how they gave her some time. So the parent to the girl had called him to say, how come the time you fixed to come visit so that everything would take place, you haven't, talked about it? Then he opened up to the parents, that the South Africans parent, and explained everything that happened. They say that hasn't gotten to a point where that was just a normal social media banter. It had nothing to do with them not getting married again, because both families, their family had agreed earlier on. So this shouldn't be the cause of any issue. That so the girl was now crying that when she came to Nigeria, she was well received. Everything was going on well until this social media break, saga, that they didn't even know this thing was going to go this far. But she began to blame the guy that started this whole banter online. That the fact that the guy held that kind of mindset about Nigeria does not mean Nigerians are like that. That's not, she felt so bad that the husband to be, the Nigerian now, was consoling her that she should not worry. Everything is going to be fine. That is not the end of the road. That his parents of the mother will come around. So the girl now said that the date was set, and her friends are already aware that she was getting married. That this is becoming more than what she thought. This is just a common banter, and this is what she keeps telling people. Before you go to social media to post anything, be sure that it's not going to be negatively, affecting other people, because sometimes a lot of them have nothing to lose, so they go out talking about things like this without understanding the context of why this thing should not be done. So they went back and forth. So the lady now traveled to Nigeria to see her parent-in-law to be, and she sat with them, explained everything. The father now said, well, the father to the guy said he doesn't have a problem. He just wanted his wife to come around. That the fact that one apple spoils the rest does not mean she's a bad person, that they have stayed with her, known her, and it's not what their people are doing that will change the whole thing. So the mother now said it's okay. So the next week they went to do all the traditional rites, and then all their beautiful outfits they wore, and everybody was happy. It ended well. They got married. So as they got married, her friend in South Africa now, came with her, visited home with her own sister. They came to Nigeria because after the wedding, they came to Nigeria. And the ladies were like, wow, the Nigeria is really a peaceful place, it's really cute, it's really nice. That is not what they tell them on social media. And then she, who is the wife, was like, is it what you see on social media you used to judge? Say, forget to that most things they show on social media is usually not the actual fact. That when you come to a place, do not judge people based on what you hear on social media. Always watch the people, come close to them to know what they were saying. So they were just joking about the stuff. So when they were to return back to South Africa, everything was seamless. They went back. So they went around telling their friends that these things they hear about Nigeria is not true. That they went to Nigeria, they went to the village of the guy, not even just the city, but they went to the village. The place was peaceful, they were well received. Nobody treated them like aliens or people that had something against them, or that it was so peaceful and nice. So is this how? So the friends were now their city people were asking them. So what you're trying to say in essence is you're planning to also marry from Nigeria. So they all laughed about it, and then they were saying this thing in their podcast. They had a podcast they did that they talked about this whole thing, about their experience after the banter between South Africans and Nigerians. That when people just sit down on their keypad behind the keyboard and type things, they don't know what this thing causes. That it causes a lot of things to some people, some negatively, some positively. But at the end of the day, do not judge people by what you see people write, because anybody can pick up a phone and write anything or say anything about a place, and if people do not discredit it or debunk it, it will keep spreading and it will become the truth. Somehow it will look like the truth. So at the end of the day, she all of them, even the guy who was anchoring the podcast, said that's true, that he had heard a lot of things about Togolese people until he paid a visit to them one time, and that was how his mindset changed totally about Togo people. That Togo people are not what they said about them. That most times when people sit down and say things, they don't know what it will cost. That as far as he's concerned, he will never judge a book by its cover until he goes close to these people to know that how can you just sit down and feel that Nigerians are like this and then say things and go. He said Nigerians even condemn their fellow Nigerians who do bad. That Nigerians call out people who in their social media space who do things that is not right. So he cannot generalize it and say, oh, all Nigerians are the same. And now this guy had gone back with his wife back to their base, and they are living happily ever after, because they are friends, and the friend who was on that panel was the one narrating this whole story. And you will never know, or even if they come back for Christmas and they come to their place, you never know that she's not Nigerian, because she had gone into the culture already. I think there are women, South African women do better when they marry Nigerians, because They don't judge anything.